Hello and welcome once again to another episode of this assembly. I am your servant of Yahuwah Soya, and we're going to pick it up once again as these things, as you come to know, they go very quickly, they progress, and they blow by in a matter of seconds, and it's all over. And we're back here again. So I'm going to get started, and last time we left off on this assembly in Bere'Shiyth chapter 21, verse 19. Today we're going to pick that up in verse 20. Thank you, Father, for bringing us here to assemble and hear your word. Please, Father, give us ears to hear, eyes to see, and let us not be confused by our feelings. Let your word come through like a beacon and shine your light upon the things that we need to know. Thank you, Father, and let us begin. Verse 20. Elohim was with the lad, and he grew, and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. That seems to say that several El were with him. Several El possibly were there teaching Yishmael in the wilderness. If that were the case, they likely taught him and trained him to know and be able to do things that he would not otherwise have learned. I mean, after all, he was only with his mother Hagar, and they were in the wilderness in lands that perhaps most likely were strange to them, since she was a native of Mitzrayim, and they had been taken, or she had been taken from her homeland as a servant, as a bondwoman, as a slave. All right. Now, especially since he was in the wilderness, away from all others who could have affected his growth in other ways. Since it was mentioned, the skill of an archer is probably one of possibly several skills that they taught him. Now, why are they focused on archery? I don't know. That's an interesting skill to teach a young man in the wilderness. Perhaps it was simply for, his own survival, so that he could hunt and bring back game that they can eat and survive on. Either way, that's an interesting skill for them to teach him. All right, verse 21. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a woman out of the land of Mitzrayim. Now it seems Yishmael stayed in the wilderness while being taught, trained by Elohim. What things other than archery did they teach him? I'm still curious about that. Whilst he was being groomed by Elohim in the wilderness, his mother found him a suitable woman from her homeland, Mitzrayim. She was no longer a bondwoman, a slave, a personal subject, or another. She could say who her son would be with and father his generations with. This was Hagar exercising her freedom for Avraham and Sarah. Slave no longer a slave. Also, in their wanderings, she must have had either an idea of where she was, or possibly Elohim guided her back to her homeland of Mitzrayim. So, while her son Yishmael was being essentially raised and trained by Elohim, she didn't have to worry about him. She could freely go back and do the things that were important to her, which chiefly seems to have been finding for him a woman that she approved of from her homeland of Mitzrayim. Maybe she was tired of all the people in the lands where they were, because they were not her people. They were strange to her. They didn't have the same values, the same traditions and or customs. So she wanted somebody that was more like her. And she found it for her son, and there was nobody to hold her back. All right. Verse 22 and 23. And it came to pass at that time that Avimelech and Pichal, the chief captain of his host, spoke unto Avraham, saying, Elohim is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear unto me, hereby Elohim, that you will not delay, I shall say, deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son. But according to the kindness that I have done unto you, you shall do unto me, and to the land wherein you have sojourned. I want to know, how did they know that Elohim were with Avraham? Were the Elohim showing themselves, or did they have spies who were watching his activities? Either way, they were aware of Elohim and used that knowledge to strike a favorable deal with Avraham. They obligated Avraham to be honest in his dealing with these people, with their people. It did not obligate them to do likewise, although they were apparently kind for whatever reason, at least kind by their own standards. So, according to what they said here. They said, but according to the kindness that I have done unto you. So, at the least, they were kind by their standards, whatever that was. All right. Now, getting back to Elohim. How did they know that Elohim were with Abraham? Possibly, had they seen Elohim before, and therefore they recognized them? Or was there some sort of, religiously ethereal disposition, appearance that they had, whereby someone who had heard of these being called Elohim would see them and be able to recognize them by this known description of the way they appeared, whether they were luminescent or tall, taller than a regular man, or, maybe they were fat, whatever the situation. How did Abimelech and his men recognize Elohim? All right. All right. Verse 24, and Abraham said, I will swear. Verses 25 through 27. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I know not who has done this thing. Neither did you tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them cut a covenant. Abraham made Abimelech aware of a wrong done to him by his people. It seemed as though there was a fight, and Abraham and his people either lost or stopped fighting. Abimelech said he was not aware of it, so Abraham cut a covenant with him. Apparently, Abimelech was, Abraham found Abimelech's side of the story believable, and he went ahead and cut a covenant with him, trusting that Abimelech would keep his word and that his people also would follow his leadership and keep his word that he's making with Avraham. All right. Verses 28-29. And Avraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Avraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? Verses 30 through 32. And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shall you take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have dug this well. Wherefore he called that place Bere'Shiyth, because there they swore both of them. Thus they cut a covenant at Bere'Shiyth. Then Abimelech rose up and Pekah, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of Palestine. Abraham ensured that he would not be dealt with badly again while sojourning in the land of the Palestine. If any false dealings were to occur, the party at fault would be killed per this covenant. Abraham and his house were the first of Yahweh's chosen people, at least the first that we read about, that dwelled in the land of the Palestine. For those of you who are unaware, the Palestine are referred to in the Bible as the Philistines. Not that that's do you much good either, but at least you have an idea of where he was and who he was dealing with. They were the Palestine, or should I say the Philistines. Verses 34, 33, and 34. And Avraham planted a grove in Bere'Shiyth and called there on the name of Yahuwah El Olam. And Avraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. And if you're wondering, Yahuwah El Olam means the everlasting Elohim, although it should be stated that it means the everlasting El. Now, I just want to bring out something very briefly. That word Elohim, it comes to my attention after doing a little more studying that it is a description. All right, it's not a title. It's not a type of being, if you will. It is a description of a type of being. And the description goes like this. It means that they are mighty. That would be based upon mighty as you are a man and they are mightier men. Put it like that. It also means that they are shining. It means shining ones or shiny one. It's a description. It's saying that they're powerful as well as they are somehow luminescent, bioluminescent. They emit light. So when you see them, not only do they possibly appear intimidatingly, physically superior, but they're also, kind of shiny, kind of luminescent, if you will. All right, moving over to chapter 22, verse 1 and 2. And it came to pass after these things that Elohim did try at Avraham, and said unto him, Avraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now eth your son, your eth Yachid, Yitzchak, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell of you. It seems to me that the word here should be El. I'm no translator, but it seems not to make sense to reference Yahuwah as a plural of all his kind. Or perhaps there were other Elohim there with their own orders or agenda concerning Yahuwah. Reason why there were more than one here telling him this. In fact, seeing that El is what they are described as, from my understanding, it really does not make sense to refer to him as El in any way unless in reference to his appearance. After all, what man has been called man, then his or her name. Man John F. Kennedy. That don't really sound right because we know John Kennedy is a man. So why say man John F. Kennedy or man Elvis Presley? It just, it don't sound right. It has no ring to it, aside from being weird. Now, he tells Avraham, or they tell Avraham, to sacrifice his son born of his woman Sarah. This was the son he waited for, was promised for, the son he adored. It was a test, but he did not know it. Or maybe he did. Also, it was just last chapter that Yitzchak was born, so it is unclear how old he is. He could be less than a year old. He may be over a year. Neither the time that passed nor his age were given. And I think what is given is the fact that we are out of time, and we will pick this up next time on this assembly. I'm your servant of Yahuwah. So y'all saying, I hope you enjoyed this good day, and I will see you next time. Nope, not doing that.